Let's talk about former ABC journalist Zoe Daniel, who's now a Teal MP, you know, the ones who promised to restore integrity to politics. Despite her political workload, Daniel found time to write a piece for the leftist Saturday paper, attacking News Corp, of course, and promoting more regulation of the media, more laws telling the media how to report. Our toothless, largely voluntary, and in the case of the Australian Press Council, predominantly Murdoch-funded regulators are not fit for purpose, wrote Daniel, going on about immensely powerful players and their penchant for conspiracies that drive profit. Perhaps she was talking about the ABC and the Russia collusion conspiracy, but probably not. It's a good thing that Daniel wants truth in the media, because this didn't always leap out at us when she was at the ABC. Remember, I picked her up a few years ago for painting an incredibly rosy picture about the torment of Venezuelans under their socialist leader, Hugo Chavez. Charismatic populist president Hugo Chavez was adored by the poor for his community support programs, free healthcare and education, and generally subsidised living. Please. Daniel's piece was noticed for all the wrong reasons. An international news aggregator picked it up and added a special note for readers. The authors of the above report do not mention the word socialism in their report, nor how the policies of nationalisation and government confiscation completely destroyed what was once one of Latin America's top economies. Instead, the focus on why people are starving in Venezuela is on sanctions, corruptions, in short, the usual excuses, while ignoring the real reason why everything has collapsed. The ABC not wanting to mention socialism or blame socialism. So how objective and truthful was Zoe Daniel's account, do you reckon? The only correction the ABC made was to insert the word socialism in a very understated manner later. Daniel's trouble with reality doesn't end there, though. She was an ABC correspondent at the time of the leftist, anti-Trump and misleading pile-on against teenager Nick Sandmann, a hatchet job that's since been exposed.
Some students harassing an older Native American man, a Vietnam vet, in the midst of a special ceremony.
It does look like that young man to me is taunting the Native American Vietnam vet.
This face-to-face confrontation igniting charges of racism.
The kid, Nick Sandmann, he doesn't seem to be afraid, but he did make a choice, and that was to make it into a standoff. That was not a good choice.
It made me sick, and I was horrified because I saw people comparing me to people harassing lunch counter sit-ins in the 60s. I saw people calling me a racist.
The distance shows Phillips and his group, with cameras rolling, went out of their way to get to Nick.
Yeah, at the time, though, Zoe Daniel, she joined in, retweeting the horrible false claims with her comment that this is truly awful. Daniel is yet to delete her tweet, retract or apologise to Sandmann. So it's a bit rich for her to lecture people about media and truth, especially when she signed a letter in 2021 accusing Israel of waging a brutal war against the besieged population of Gaza. And cop this, calling for better reporting of the issue. So much for the truth, hey? And as the Teal MP for Goldstein in Melbourne, Daniel has been involved in a bizarre controversy over why she didn't make it to a commemoration ceremony the Sunday before ANZAC Day. She later blamed her absence on a personal commitment with my teenaged son in his role as a volunteer surf lifesaver. But initially, Daniel seemed uncomfortable explaining her absence.
The situation is that I was unable to make it. I am a working mother. I had a family commitment. Every MP can't be everywhere all the time. It's, a shame that I couldn't make it.
Yeah, it is a shame, but she didn't want to detail the commitments that kept her away.
I don't really want to keep talking about it because I do think that it detracts from ANZAC Day.
So she didn't want to talk about it, but she wasn't in her electorate. Daniel was away at her beach house. So again, what was this commitment?
My husband got up and drove our daughter back to Melbourne to play footy on Sunday, and I waited with my son so that he could finish his life-saving shift. I've been pretty clear that I was attending a surf life-saving commitment, so that's where I was.
So that was it. Daniel couldn't get back to town for the ANZAC event. That answer seemed to satisfy most of the Canberra press gallery, but couldn't she have driven back in the morning instead of her husband? Why did she try to blame her absence on a surf life-saving event? Wouldn't it have been more accurate just to say she decided to spend Sunday at the beach house and drive back with her son later when the ANZAC event was on? Wouldn't that have been clearer and on point? Hasn't Daniel used her son's surf life-saving shift as some kind of political shield? If Zoe Daniel wants truth in media and truth in politics, and don't we all, well, there's a pretty obvious place to start.